So over the weekend, we got a nice new enticing rumor about the iPhone 15, 15 Pro, and the 15 Ultra, which should be coming in Q3 of this year. So in this video, let's talk about that new rumor that we got and what that means for the design of the new higher-end iPhone 15 moving forward. Let's get into it. So just to give everybody a quick little recap of what to expect moving forward with the iPhone 15 lineup, we're going to talk mostly about design and how it visually is going to change, if at all, versus all the internals, because obviously with the next iteration, they all should be relatively faster than last year's with new internals, but we'll get to that in a future video. In this one, what I want to talk about is how they're going to change from a design standpoint. So it is rumored that Apple will be keeping their design language when it comes to screen size. So we're going to have a 6.1 and a 6.7 regular iPhone, and then we're going to have the 6.1 and 6.7 Pro iPhones moving forward. And to our surprise, it looks like Apple's going to be bringing the dynamic island to the lower level iPhone, so the regular iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Plus. They will be keeping around that 6.7-inch iteration of the iPhone, even though the sales haven't been amazing. But we are supposed to be getting some sort of dynamic island or a dynamic island equivalent to remove the notch from those iPhone 15s. And the reason I think it's a surprise is because normally Apple waits a year, 2, maybe even 3 before bringing a Pro level feature over or down to the lower level iPhones. But then you can also think about when the iPhone 10 released and the very next year the iPhone 10R released as a cheaper level iPhone with Face ID, and that being the new way of interacting with the phone. But for the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Plus, the only design language that we will see in terms of change is going to be a dynamic island. The screen is going to be the same, it's going to be the same size, bezels will be the same, the cut-off edges and the industrial look will remain, even though we've had that look since the iPhone 12 now at this point. But now let's move over to the iPhone 15 Pro and the eventual, hopefully, iPhone 15 Ultra. But the differentiator between the 15 Pros and then the regular 15 lineup this year is going to be all about the bezels. So according to Shimp Apple Pro on Twitter, it looks like Apple's working on a new design for the 15 Pro and 15 Ultra. Normally, that's kind of what sets it apart. It's usually just a more refined design overall between the 15 Pro and the 15 Ultra, whereas this year, the only real difference was the dynamic island, but the build quality was pretty much the same, aside from some build materials that were on the 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max. But according to Shimp Apple Pro, it looks like Apple's going to be thinning out the bezels substantially, especially when you think about it from a relative standpoint. The bezels are going to get smaller, and the way they're going to accomplish this is by actually rounding off the edges slightly. Now, this is going to be kind of a teeter right now because, in my opinion, those waterfall designs that Android manufacturers play with, normally, I'm not a huge fan of it. I think Google did implement it very, very well with their Pixel 7 Pro because it is a waterfall design, but it isn't super crazy where you're accidentally pressing with your palm all the time. Whereas the older Samsung devices and even some of the new ones, you still get a lot of interference with your palm because of that waterfall design. So on Apple's side, I hope Apple doesn't go too crazy with how much of an angle and how much of a waterfall design they go with, because I do not want to have a situation where we're actually pressing with our palms by accident and making a phone call or going to an app that shouldn't, or it thinks your finger's on one side of the phone so it won't respond to the actual finger touch, because that's happened to me in the past. But what this basically is supposed to look like, it's supposed to take a lot of design language actually from the Apple Watch. So if you guys use an Apple Watch and you see what the Apple Watch looks like, not the Apple Watch Ultra, but the regular Apple Watches, the Series 8 and down, you see that there is a somewhat of a curved design to make it look a little bit more sleek, a little bit more nice to the touch, and it does fit very, very well whenever you're looking at it. And it kind of gives you this feel of a bezel-less design, even though it clearly is a bezel, but as you move up with the Series 8 Apple Watches where the actual screen is going all the way to the end, the bezels just add to that function and makes it look even nicer because it does feel like the screen is going kind of into the body of the phone. So that is what we're getting from a design standpoint with the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Ultra or Pro Max, whatever Apple's going to end up calling that last phone. But we are getting USB-C throughout the entire lineup. Supposedly, this is going to be the year. So if you didn't get the iPhone 14, hold off a little while longer, or at least until, again, the fall when the iPhone 15 is released, because USB-C is going to be a big game opener for iPhones. It allows for the easy use of dongles, being able to put, 9-in-1 USB-C hubs plugged into there. Maybe it opens up the door to some sort of like desktop class operating system. Maybe the 15 Ultra will be able to run Stage Manager and extended monitor support and kind of be an on-the-go computer when you need it to be. All things that are unlocked when we go USB-C. Because again, Lightning, even though it's been around for 10 years and at its time, it was relatively revolutionary, now it's old, it's dated, it's kind of a hindrance to all iPhones. Because aside from some other accessories like the Magic Mouse and the Magic Keyboard, everything else in Apple's lineup is now USB-C, so Apple should be bringing USB-C to all iPhones moving forward, especially because the EU is kind of forcing their hand at this one. But what do you guys think overall? Is this new bezel-less design, this new kind of like mini waterfall design, something that's going to be useful or kind of be enough to make you upgrade, especially if you're coming from the 14? Me personally, I will be getting it because I am rocking the 13, and I like to go every other year with my upgrades on the iPhones to give me something a little bit extra to enjoy. Because normally if you go year over year over year, there isn't much to enjoy because the changes are so incremental. But if you go every other year, even then they're not super crazy, but at least you get 2 years worth of actual updates to get improved on and actually feel and use and get some tangible difference out of it. But let's see what Apple ultimately does with the iPhone 15, the iPhone 15 Ultra lineup. I'm very curious to see because we have had the same design language, excluding the dynamic island. Outside of that, iPhones have felt and looked the same since the iPhone 12, so it's about time Apple kind of revamps the design at least a little bit so it at least feels different in the hand. But that's going to do it, everybody. If you did enjoy, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below, and leave a comment down below what you guys think about the iPhone 15 and this new design language of this design change. Do you care about it? Is it something that you're looking forward to? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to answer some comments as well. But that's going to do it, everybody. If you guys want to watch some more macOS, iOS, or iPadOS content, click on one of these right here. But until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out of here. Peace.